So till yesterday, what we did, we generated a record action, which was inserting a new entry into the table. We haven't done any configuration like tracking codes for anything, but Appian has built everything for it, right? So I was just walking you through for all those things how it has done. I just given you this option, so that you can know that how Appian, why Appian is very faster. It generates every code bit of code for you. You just have to do some little modification according to your business standard. Apart from that, it generates everything. So yesterday we have looked into like how the customer interface can look like, and then what how can we do some modification and all, right? So this we did, and then today we'll see this also generated one process model. So we'll see what is a process model, and it also generated one rule. Uh, so we'll check how to what this rule is about, and then it also generated the constant. So we'll talk about what is a constant in an Appian. Okay, let's start with the constant. It's a very small concept, and it's very important as well. So what is a constant? Like suppose if I say you in your example, for say in your example you have given your application abbreviation is LAP, right? Loan application process, right? Now business wants to ask you, I don't want LAP, I want LPA, loan process application, right? So you imagine if you have used hundred of places this word LAP, 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 and now you have to change to the LPA. You need to go all the 100 places and change it as an LPA, right? Now instead
So
of that,
Ravi,
what?
I have few questions on our previous sessions.
Okay, let
So
me finish this constant, then we can go with that question. Okay.
okay,
So this constant, right? So what I was saying that you have an LAP mention all of the text as an a text abbreviation. Used all of your application like say 100 places. Now if business wants you to change it to the LPA, it will be pretty much a good very tough task to find those things and then change it to the LPA, right? All the 100 places. Now instead of that, if we could have used this, created a constant, a text constant, and inserted the word LAP there and use that constant everywhere. Okay, all the 100 places. Now, if the business wants us to change it to the LPA, what we have to do? We just update the constant, and that constant will reflect all the places. So we don't have to change all the 100 places, and we don't even have to search it out, right? It's just the constant we have to change, and it will reflect all the places. Got it? What's the use of constant? Any doubt here?
No, Ravi. So just like a placeholder where we define it in one place
Correct.
and
Correct.
use that name others.
And it so create one and use multiple tabs, right? You can refer it anywhere and it will be reflect everywhere. Okay. Now that is a one use. The second use is that, like suppose if you want to refer some kind of object, like suppose it's some place, suppose there's a file upload. Okay, the file has to be uploaded to some folder, right? So that folder that we have given, right, that folder is kind of a object where it has to keep the files. But if you write the folder name, it won't treat as a folder object, right? Because it's a text if you give the name. So to refer that particular object as a folder, we can create a constant of type folder, and where we can refer that particular object. Okay, and we keep the reference of this object. Okay, this is a folder. I'm keeping it in a constant, and we can use this constant at every places. Okay. Now, second example of constant is that a type is that data stored entity. So whenever we need to write the data to the some table, right, we need to refer the name of that particular object, which entity we need to write it. So if we just write the name of that entity, it will be treated as a simple text. But we need to refer them as a pass them as a entity type. So we can create a constant of a data store entity type. So here you see this constant that they have created, right? It's a type of a data store entity, and they are referring to this particular entity table. Okay, so this is how the system will know. Okay, you want to write the data to the data store entity. Okay, so this is the concept of the constant. And if you see the type, there are many types like application, boolean, concrete system, data store entity, data. Most of the objects that we create in the Appian, you have the reference type of that. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to the questions.
So Ravi, for this constant, can we see any example while changing? Can you show us?
Definitely, you will be seeing like many constants. We will be seeing that. Don't worry about that. This first, the first action that I created from the Appian was to show you why Appian is faster and how can Appian build its own code. You don't have to do much, right? If you would have, if we would have started creating this object like designing a process model, designing an interface, it would have taken much time to design it, right? But in Appian, you don't have to do it. So this is the first action that I've shown you. What is the capability of Appian? Now onwards, what we will do, we will be creating the action from the scratch. Every action will be scratch, every interface will be creating from the scratch, so we'll know how to create an interface and everything. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay, Ravi. So, can we go with the questions now on the
Yes,
previous
please.
sessions?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday I created the interface like
Uh-huh.
how we did in the class, and
Uh-huh.
after that, if I wanted to change any variable, like if I want to add or delete or change data type of any variable, I need to go to
Uh-huh.
the database and then update it over there,
That is
and
the
should
best way
go
to do that. That is the
okay.
best way to do that. If you want to Appian suggests do not delete any column or any data, like say employee reference number or employee name, anything, because you if your application is pretty big application, right?
There will be
And if
dependencies.
yes, there will be a lot of dependencies, right? So Appian suggests if you have to if you do not have to use of that particular column, leave it, but don't
Hmm.
delete it until unless you are pretty much sure that you have updated all of the places.
Okay, but if
So
you want to
Appian
add,
suggests,
we need to
yeah,
add it to the
adding is
database
not an
only,
issue.
right?
Yeah, yes, add into the database, download an SSD file and add it there as well. I'll show you how to do that. We will be requiring to do that. That we can see. Okay.
Okay, fine. And for
Yeah.
one of the field, I changed it from integer to varchar.
Mhm.
But after
Okay.
changing through the interface, if even if I type some, for example, bar 123,
Mhm.
it takes just the integers 123. But when I give
Because
the same
because
value
you are
to the
you have
database,
updated in the you have
yeah,
updated into the database, right? Have you updated into the CDT?
no, I didn't know how to update that,
Okay,
so that's why I
we'll see
asked.
that one. Okay.
Okay, okay, yeah, fine.
Okay. So that's what from your input. Let me see. Let me show you. So let's open the database. LAP. Yes, it is a continuation of the status session. Same like everything will be now a continuation in there only. Okay. Let's say
What if,
if we see,
sorry, what if in case I've missed yesterday's thing, right? How do I catch up on that?
you can ask for the recordings from the organizer of this training. They can share you the video files.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Let's see this KYC, right? Sorry. This KYC is a type of integer, right here. What we can do, I need to go and change this as a type of. So I click on this, I click on change. I'll just say as a varchar, and I'll just give like 10 length. Okay. I'll say a save. Now if I go to the browse, I need to change this as well, right? This one. So what I can do, let me change it to the, we'll say like done the previous values. Okay. Okay. So we have updated into database. Now we need to also update into the CDT. So whatever we built. So let's filter on the data type. So this is LAP customers. Here you see it is still referring to the number integer, right? The best way of doing it, anything like if you want to even add any column, you just go and download the XSD file. Okay, just to make sure everything works fine, download the XSD file, open it, try to open this into the Notepad++. That's way it keeps the formatting. In Notepad, sometimes what happens, it's remove the formatting. Okay, so I downloaded the SSD file. Now you see this. uh, KYC here, it is mentioned as an integer, right? And tiny int. So what I need to do? I need to change it to the varchar. So for this element type, I need to provide as a string. So copy this and then paste it here as a string. And this also we become as a varchar. So we have given 10 size there. We just mention the 10 here. 10. Okay. While doing these changes, you make sure whatever objects you are using, like interface or process model or anything where you are using the CDT, those objects should be closed. If those objects are not closed, in that case, what will happen? Those objects will not reflect with the updated version. Okay. So right now you see none of the interfaces are open. Wherever I've used this, none of them are open. So what I need to do now? Go to the setting icons and create new version from XST. Upload the saved version that we have just did it. Uh, now it will backend, it will verify. It says data store verification passed. It means the columns are matching now. Create on the new version. It's done. Now it's become test. Now where are we are using this? We are using into the interface side. So let's go to the interface. Any doubt here? How did I how I updated the type?
No, Ravi, it's fine.
Okay. Now we have used this into the interface. So let's go to the interface, and interface we have given this is a drop down, right? In the KYC, you see this KYC is a drop down, and we are storing the values as 1 and 0. This also needs to be changed. We should be keeping it the same thing, because now we have converted to the text type. Okay. Now if we change this one and if you capture, it will work. Okay. Got it?
Yeah, Ravi, perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions from the last session?
Yeah, yeah, Ravi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple of questions. So my question is, should a CDT holds the value, right, or not, or it just helps to pass the information to interface or any process model?
So a CDT holds a value. Like CDT is what? CDT is a structure, right? Whenever you define a CDT, this right now you see this. This is a CDT. LP customer is nothing but a CDT, right? This does not have any value
Okay.
for now. This has a structure of the value you will keep it. Okay. Now, when I created this interface, and this interface, when I was creating a variable, the rule input variable, and defining the type of this one as a LAP customer, now this variable will keep the value and pass it from one place to other place.
Okay.
Got
So
it?
it holds the value as well, right, for that
Now,
particular variable.
CDT does not hold the value. CDT is used to define the structure of that value.
Okay.
Like for example, if I create a variable here, like let's say I say the name, and I will define a type this name as a text. So this name variable will hold the value some name which is going to be type of text. In the same way, when I say customer, so customer I will define the type as say LAP underscore customer. So this structure is not going to hold a value. This is going to define that this particular variable customer will have the value as a type of this LAP customers.
Okay.
So this particular variable will hold the value, not the CDT. CDT is used to define the structure and pass information from one place to another place using the rule input. So it can define the structure. Okay, I am passing this kind of information from one place to other place, and that, using this rule input or any variable. Okay, clear?
Okay. So in case if we are, if we have created a CDT, okay, and
Uh-huh.
with the same replica of table, let's say if we have created a table of employee information
Uh-huh.
and also a CDT with employee information, okay,
Uh-huh.
and when we are updating any records, then will it
Uh-huh.
update those information in CDT or in CDT and in database also?
Now where you are updating it?
I'm updating in the record. I'm just updating the record type. So So my question is, if the database is also updated and also parallelly the CDT is updating. I mean,
Just
if
now,
the
the way we did
CDT
it
and the
right away, right?
database, yeah,
So we updated the
so it will
database
update.
type.
Yeah,
Hmm, So see, okay,
so it will update
right
both,
now,
right?
yeah, no, you have to update it manually, right? I mean, you see, we have updated the database column, and then we have to manually update the CDT as well, right? The type. But
Okay,
if you are any running existing, if there are any running existing instances are there, right? So for example, there are one running instance is already there, which so the the modification that we have done for the CDT, this modification can only be done to the newly instances. The running instances will still be referring to the old type. There it cannot be modified. Okay. So that's why I was saying before deleting or adding is fine, but before deleting and modifying any CDT, you should make sure that if there are running any running instances, those will not get impacted. So if you are changing the type, it should not break. Suppose, for example, right now we have changed it from the text to number integer to text, right? Which is fine. The number integer can be treated as a text file. But suppose if you change something else, right, which the column is not supporting that particular type, then it will break. So that's why before deleting and before modifying any column type into your database, you have to make sure it it is not gonna break any your running instances. Okay.
okay,
Uh, After modifying the database, like adding a column, how do you update the interface? The same, we need to upload the XST
So
file or
you can
something.
go and manually update the interface. Like suppose if you want to add some new field. So for example, um,
Like, is there no automatic way, like how I've been created the
no,
initial?
no.
Okay,
Once the interface has been generated, it if you want to update it, it will create a new interface, right?
okay.
Or otherwise, you have to select the existing interface and all, right? So
Hmm.
that may modify your current changes. Like some changes we did, right? We changed the label of this one. So that's why you can create just like adding just one field, right? You can do that. Um,
Okay.
think about
So
any one
it
field
is
that we
always
can.
better to have the columns well defined before starting off, right?
Correct. Yes, that's always a best practice. Not only for Appian, any other application, right? Because adding, removing columns are very difficult, tough task in any other application, right? Because it gets referenced by many other objects. So you have to make sure that whatever data model you are defining is correct. So adding, again, I am saying adding is not an issue, right? If you can add a new column, if you want to add a new column, that is always fine because it's not going to impact any other existing things. But if you are deleting it and if you are modifying it, you have to be pretty much very sure that okay, we should not be doing that. I would try to avoid those things. Okay.
okay. Ravi, just last
Uh-huh.
question. So,
Uh-huh.
in case of, while creation of records, you have given the timings to sync up with the table, right?
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
in case my system has, shut down or the application is not working, will be the syncing be done automatically at a particular?
No,
Uh,
this Appian instance is on cloud, right? So nothing had to do with your system.
okay, so whatever timing we will give, it will
Correct.
update the
Yeah, it
database
will do that. Yeah.
accordingly.
Correct.
Okay, thanks, thanks.
Any more questions from the last session? No. Cool. Okay. Now we have explained this interface. We have explained the constant, what the constant is, and then let's see what is expression rule is about. What it says. Okay, this is just a simple and expression rule where they have trying to, uh, you know, uh, okay, what is the use of an expression rule? You can do any kind of data manipulation or calculation or query, whatever you want to bring your data to format your data, right? If you want to do some
So it
changes on
is
your
just
data,
like a function. We
exactly.
are, uh,
Exactly.
yeah.
So whatever you want to perform, whatever you want to do, any calculation or any data manipulation, you can create an expression rule and that will done for you. So for example, here what is done, we are sending the record and from the record, they are changing some name. What new customer ampersand is cancelled and cancelled, otherwise record that name. Okay, so what we are doing is we are trying to return a. Okay, let me show you here. Suppose I pass this name as I'll say this is my record. Okay, because it's a type of the record LAP customers, I have to pass it within like this, and it says like say true, cancel is true. So what happened once you click on test tool, it said new customer cancelled. Okay, the process is cancelled. Now if it is false, then what will say new customer Ravi. So this is how you can format your text, and whatever desired output you want, you can do it into the expression roles. No worries, we will be creating a lot of expression roles, we'll be seeing this one. Okay, so this is one thing. Now the major thing that sorry, the major thing that Appian has built is called process model. So now I need to show you the process model. So we have to see the process model from the scratch as well. It is just for this particular action, and what Appian has created for you, I'm just showing to you. Okay, so this is a process model that Appian has built. You know, so new customer. Whenever you click on a new customer, a process instance will be triggered. Okay, and in that process instance, you see this one. There's a start node and end node, and there's a condition. If you are clicking on cancel, or you are clicking on the uh, submit. If you submit, then it will create an entry. If you click on cancel, it will go from the top. Now there is a user input task.
What is the use of this? What is process model and why we are using Ravi?
What you are getting from here, what it's doing.
It's started some task and then
Mhm.
it is going with some process and then finally it ends.
So there's a two way of defining the interface. So what is the use of process model? Process model is used to initiate an action and perform that action according to the design you have done it. So this is going to, whenever you click on whenever we click on the customer, let me open that Campo. We go to the records, right? We click on the customers. Whenever we click on add customer, you are seeing this interface, right? So this interface has been configured within the process model. You see this, you go to the properties and go to the process start form. You see this LAP create customer, LAP create customer. This is the name of the interface. Okay, so this has been configured here, and you see this record type is mentioned. Whatever rule input is getting was created into that interface, those two are reflecting here. So whenever we are clicking on this add customer, this process model is getting triggered and it's generating a new instance. Now if I go here, let me show you the instance as well. How can we see the instance? So if you go to the application and below, you can see the monitor mode, and if you go to the process activity, okay, now the you cannot see the instance running instance here because the interface is used into the process start form. So that's why if you are using an interface into the process start form, it will not trigger any instance until unless you perform some action. Right now you see this one here, there are three instances, right? Now what I do, I just click on cancel. So I take some action. Now if you go back here and refresh it, there is a 4 action. This is the model that was get triggered. This is a running instance. This is the actual model and this is the running instance. Okay, so in the running instance, this when you trigger that action, it started the process start form and display that interface to you, and you clicked on cancel, so it decided okay what you have done, and it's taken this path and the overflow. If you would have clicked on submit with all those information, then it would have taken this particular path and write the data to the database. If you see the all other instances like this one, user has performed submit, so that's why it's taking this path and updated the data into the database. So this is the node, this particular this is we call smart service. This smart service is used to write the data from the user input or from anywhere to the database wherever we define. So if you go and check the configuration here, we have defined the data store entity, that particular constant that it built, right? If you see the constant here, this was the constant that was built by the Appian, which is a type of data store entity. And in this entity constant, we are defining which entity uh, it has to write the data, and we are referring the same constant into the process model here, and the data, whatever data is want to write to the database. Okay, so this is what the use of the process model, to get the input, to process flow the data, and then perform some action on this, like write to database or send to somewhere else, pass the information from one model to another model. That is the use. Okay, any doubt?
No, fine.
So we will be creating this interface and model and everything for our next the main agenda of our application is to generate a loan application. So we'll be seeing everything in by creating from scratch. This is was to show you how Appian could behave as a faster coding and low coding, right? So that's why it says low code. It's not a no code, because we have to do some coding, right, according to our business standard. So that's the thing. Okay, all right, any doubt here? So I can proceed, and then we can proceed with, like, whenever a customer gets inserted in the system, right, we also need to generate some account, we need to open some account, right? So we can work on that part. If you have no questions, we can move to that. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Let me open that Excel sheet. Okay, so we have created this customer table, right? Now let's go and create an account table. So as you all know how to create this one, so let's go quickly. Stop me if you need some kind of clarification how what I'm doing it. So I'm just going to create a new table here. So I'll just keep this name as an LAP accounts. Definitely it will have some account ID. It will have customer ID. It is going to be my primary key. This is going to be foreign key. So I'll just make this initially null. Account reference, account reference, account status, account type, ACC, ACC status. Let's create 3 more. Account status, ACC type. What else? Balance, created on created balance, ACC balance, and we say created on, say created by. Let's say 2 more columns. Let's say updated on, updated by. And then this is integer, this is going to be integer, this is going to be varchar. I'll define the size scale length of like 25. Account status, let's say going to be characters, so I'll say 25. Account type is also, let's say, 50 characters long. Account balance is going to, oh, it's all going to be varchar. Account balance is going to be float. Created on is going to be date and time. Created by is going to be varchar. I'll just put 100 characters. Updated on is going to be float. Sorry, date and time. And updated by is going to be varchar. Okay, so this is the account table we created. Initially, all other values will be null apart from this auto increment ID. Okay, this is the primary key, and this customer is going to be a foreign key. Will define, show you how to create that as well. I just click on save. So this customer table is account table is done. So we have this accounts. Click on open this one. Go to the structure. Now, if you see this one, there is a called relation view. I'll just put the relation view. I'll say foreign key underscore cust ID. Add column onto the customer ID, LAP customers.customer ID. Okay, so this is how I define the relationship. I'll just click on save. Now if I go to the structure, it says foreign keys mapping here. So what I have done, I just did this is the customer ID is the primary key here, and the same I have defined into the LAP accounts as a foreign key. Okay, any doubt here?
So basically, you try to link between these two tables with primary key.
Yeah, so whenever you link a primary key to the another table, that becomes a foreign key. So this customer ID here is the primary key into the customers table, right? And the same, if I am defining one more customer ID into the accounts table, then it will become a foreign key. Okay. Okay, now we have few customers in here, right? So let's create some account and then put the information there. So okay, I'll go to the accounts table. Some we are trying to put some information here, so I'll say insert. So account ID is going to be auto generated. Customer ID, if you see, as this is a foreign key, it's starting give you the drop down which customer you want to link. So I want to link with the customer one Prashad. Account reference will say like some we are some format.
Why did it show 8 entries? Can you click on the drop down?
These are repeated things. Yeah. These are same 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, so account reference. Let's say some formatting of the account. Let's say we start with 2022, and then account is opening into the month of August. So 08, and then I'll say 000, and then say 1. Okay, this is the account number, and account number will be 1. So here I'm just giving the reference as this one, right? If you want to put some character also, you can do that. We are forming just things. Okay, so account status I can say active. Account type I'll say saving. Account balance right now it's 0. Created on, I can consider today's date. Created by, I can put my credential. So this is my login ID. Updated on will be null and updated by will be null. Okay. Now same way, let's create for the customer 2. Account reference 202208002030. How many zeros? 3 zeros. 0002, and then account status is active. Account type I'll say saving. Account balance is going to be 0. Created by, updated, created on will be today's date. Okay. Okay, let's say preview SQL and copy this all. Like suppose we have to insert only 4, but what if I would need to update more? I'll just paste it here. View water. Yeah. So insert into LAP account. This is a query it has generated. So in the values, we see this one. This is the first values. This is the first row. This is the second row. I just copy this and paste it here. I put the comma here, and then I'll change this one. I'll just change to 3. I'll change this to 4. It will become 3. It will become 4. Yeah, that's all. I copy this, close this. I just cancel this one. I don't want to go with this one. So go to the SQL, because we have the insert sheet. Delete this, paste your insert statement here and click on go. It says 4 rows inserted. If you go to the browse, you can see these 4 rows are inserted, and you see this one. This is the link now available, because these are the foreign key. So if you click on this one, you will be redirect to that customer table with this particular row. Okay, any doubt how did we insert the data and creating this table and all?
Yeah, it's clear.
Perfect. Okay, so account table is done. Now what we need to do, let's go and create the, okay, let's go and create a data type for this one. So we go and we click on the new and then let's say data type. We are going to create the data type from the database table or view. We select the data stores and then we select the table. So we say LAP underscore accounts. So when we are going to create this, right, this structure is not going to hold all those value. This is just to define the structure of your data. CDT for account structure. Okay, we start doing the best practice following. So it should be camel casing. So we are just updating this in the camel casing. So whenever Appian did generates the auto files, right, it all do in the small case, right? So we have to change this one to as a camel. That's okay if you want to proceed with the lowercase all, that is also fine, but Appian suggests as a best practice you should be doing the camel casing.
Okay, actually we can leave it here as such, and in the interface we can modify however we want, right?
No, yeah, that is
Yes.
fine, but we need to refer this name of this field to
Okay.
uh, as a dot notation, right, or the index within the index, right? So there you need to define. If you put as a camel casing, that's a best practice happens.
Okay,
Okay,
and
now you see this
for
one.
one
Yeah,
application only one data source.
you can have as n number of data sources. Like for tables, you can create a different data store.
Mhm.
For views, you can create a different data stores, right? So just like we
Okay.
have created this LAP data store, right? So this is data store. You can create one more LAP data store view. Okay, like so in that one you can map with the views. Right now we are using one for tables. So I mean that depends on the company's structure, how they want, or developer to developer. But we do not need to have multiple data stores. One is enough to handle everything. Okay, so we are generating the data store CDT, and let's say we also need to create a data store entity. So this is the entity name. Just for to differentiate, I'll just put entity here. Okay, entity. So CDT is going to be created for accounts. Let's say click on create. So this CDT is created. Okay, you see this one. This one is mapping the for primary key and this is the foreign key. Now, if you go to the data source, data store that we have built, now you will see there will be one more entry for accounts entity. Okay, if you verify this one, it will say entity mapping verified. It means the structure of your CDT and the structure of your table are same. If there will be any mismatch, this verification will not do done. It will throw an error saying that this particular column is not matching. Okay, so who has changed that name? Please, can you call out your name? Who has changed this thing from integer to text into the database?
It's myself, Bharat.
Bharat. So now if you open your data source, if you open your data store, right, and then click on verify, it won't be verified because it's not in test in your CDT, right?
Okay.
If you try to do that, it will throw that error. Can you share your screen and show us, because I want to show that how it behaves. Do
Yeah,
you have your
sure.
laptop open? Let me
Yeah, yeah.
make you presenter. Make you presenter. I just make you presenter. Okay. Now can you go to the data store?
I just tried for a different application. Data source or data store?
Data store. That's a data store. Yeah. Okay. No, no. This is a data type. where you create the entity, the data store.
This one, right? Data source.
Yeah. So in your table, you still have that column as a text, and in CDT you have integer, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you click on this below? You can see verify. Yeah. It's still taking database the version 2. You see this one, the PM database is taking the version 2 at the top. That needs to be modified.
Okay.
Okay. But this is how, I mean, you know, if you are, I mean, you have seen that how to change that one. So you need to change that one.
Okay,
Okay.
I need to update the existing field. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for that, Bharat. So any question, guys? I mean, how do we created this one, and how do we refer this thing? The data store entity, because this thing we have done already yesterday. It's just a repeated thing. Any doubt till now? Whatever we have done,
No,
no
Ravi,
doubts.
it's fine.
Perfect. Okay. So now we have created the uh, date table, and we have created the this thing CDT as well. Okay. Now what is the purpose? Someone asked me yesterday, right? How do we think what needs to be done? Right. So you tell me, like we have a workflow which is writing the customer entry into the table. So whenever a customer is getting onboarded, right? Whenever a customer is getting onboarded, we also need to create an account for them, right? So what we have to do, we have to design a process for that. Who is going to do that for us, right? There is a process. The process model is going to perform that action and then create an entry into the table, right? So, okay, so now let's go and start designing a process model. This is also very essential thing, and in Appian, two things are very important: records and process model. If you have better idea of these things, you will be able to create your application very easily. Other things like interfaces and expression rules and all those things are, you know, those are the secondary things, I can say, because those are the supported things. Interface designing is okay, you can do that, you can learn it somewhere, but how optimized and how efficient process model you can create, that depends on your capabilities. So we have created this process model was created by the Appian. Forget about it, done. Now let's start creating a new process model for ourselves. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a process model. We'll give a name, LAP, new account open. Okay, so we'll say this process model will use to create an account for customer. Okay, I'll say create. So this is the security it is giving, LAP users and administrator as a viewer and administrator role. I'll say click on save. So this is how initially the process model will look like. It will have the start node and end node. Okay. Now this has to be done to the system. No user interaction, because user interaction is only to the customer level whenever they put the customer details and then click on submit. So what has to be done? First of all, we have to prepare an data for this one, right? One second, please. Okay. So first of all, what we need to do, we need to prepare some data so it can, write into the database and generate an account, right? So what data we need to insert? The data column that we created, right? Let's go here. Come on. So we need these all data to be generated, right? This is going to be auto increment. So okay, now let's go and create a new expression rule. So let's say expression rule, and I'll say give this name as uh, form account form account data. This rule is used to form the account information. Okay, I'll say create. Okay, now how do we define? There is a one way of defining, there's rule input, right? We can define a rule input here, but there is another way of defining the CDT is something like this. So we'll say type bank, okay, LAP, the name of the CDT, LAP accounts. Once you select this, it will say this is the type is going to be a CDT. Now when I use click inside, it start giving you the name of the attributes available here. I just copy paste it here, and then okay, so account ID initially is going to be null. Now the customer ID, this customer ID information will be coming from the customer create new customer table process model, right? Because there we are generating this customer ID. So here we can say rule input as a customer ID, that is going to be number integer. It means this information is going to come from the outside. So we'll say RI customer ID. So we are referring this rule input RI customer ID. Okay. Now account reference number, initially it will be null because this depends on the account ID number. If account ID whatever number is there, this will be become that particular reference number. But we can, what we can do is we can put some initial text. So let's say we have initial text as 2022 and the month, and then 000. This is the initial text, and then it has the account ID, right? So this account ID we can put it into the later when we generate the account ID, then we can put it here. Initially it will be X. Okay, and then we'll say account status. Initially it will be going to be active, so I'll just type it as an active. Account type, let's say initially it's going to be saving, so I just type the saving. Account balance is going to be 0 initially, and created on, it is going to be now. So now function gives you the current date and time. Okay, I'll show you how. And the created by will be logged in user, so I'll say function logged in user, and then updated on and updated by will be null initially. Okay, so let me show you. I just comment it out. Let me show you first now how the now function works. So now function, if you see the now function, it gives you the current date and time. Okay, and the function logged in user, gives you the current user logged in. So right now I have logged in, so I'll give my name. Okay, that is what I have used to prepare this data. Okay, got it? Any doubt here, guys? We are getting this customer ID from the parent of this rule. Whoever is calling this one, they have to pass this customer ID. Okay, whoever is going to call this particular rule, they need to pass the customer ID, so it can form the data according to that. Okay, any doubt here?
Why are we doing this actually?
So whenever you generate a new account, you have to insert some data into that account, right? Then only it will be having the new account, right?
Yeah.
So we are generating the data for the new account.
Okay, for the customer thing, we used an
So
interface.
whenever you create a new customer, a new
Okay.
account also needs to be generated, right?
Okay, so this will be automatically created when we
This
create
will
the
be
customer.
automatically created. So
Okay,
we are
okay, got
defining
it.
the process to generate automatically, right? So if you see this one, everything is done here. It's a type of the LFP account. This data needs to be inserted into the table, right? So
Okay,
you are done
understood.
with this. Okay,
Understood.
now I'll just save this rule. So this account data is done. Okay, now let's go to the process model, what we are designing it. So this was the process model. This process model, and we have one more process model for new customer, right? This is going to be the parent process model. So once this data of the customer get inserted into the database, the next step would be generate the account, right? So we will be calling this particular process model, new account process model here as a next step. Got it?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so in that, because we are generating the customer ID here, right? We need to pass that customer ID in that particular model. So in the new account open process model, what we need to do is we need to create a process variable. Now here it comes the third variable that is called process variable that is used into the process models. I'll say customer ID. It is going to be number integer, and this is going to be parameterized. It means whoever will call this particular process model, they need to pass the customer ID to it. Okay, I'll say okay. Okay. So this is the one variable we have created that is called customer ID. Now what is the another variable we need to create? We need to create the account data. And what is the type it is going to be? It is going to be LAP underscore accounts. This is not going to be parameterized. Okay, we just keep it simple, single. It's not going to be multiple. Okay, so I'll just say okay. So now account data is also done. Now in process model, we have a smart service called script task. This script task is nothing but the same as the expression rules thing. So here what we are going to do is I'll say get account data, and if you open this one, you see there's a data. In the data, you go to the output and create a new output. And this output, what we have to do is we have to call the rule that we built for generating the account details. So we'll say LAP underscore form account data. You can see this expression rule is coming here. We'll say this one. Now, as soon as I call this rule, it says there's a input parameter called cust ID. So this cust ID, what I need to pass? Whatever the customer ID is getting it from the parent. So that refers by process variable. So we'll say PV process variable bang, and then we say customer ID. It's a save and close. And whatever data it will form, we need to store it somewhere, right? So we store into the account data CDT type, that variable that we have created. We'll say okay. I will run it, and then you will see how it's working. Let me publish. So whenever you work any process model, we have to publish this as well. So I just say publish. Now let's go to the parent process model. The customer is going to be our parent process model. Here we need to call a smart service called sub process. Okay, and here I'll say call account model. Okay, now in the sub process, double click, go to the setup, and in the setup call a process model that we built. The process model that we built is called LAP. Okay, click on this icon here, the search window, go to the search and give the name LAP search. It says new account open. So I need to select this particular process model, click on OK. As soon as I click on this particular process model, it says there is a one process variable you have created which is parameterized. You need to pass the information. So where we have this information available? We have this information available into the process variable pv bang record dot customer ID. Why we are getting this record as a all this is defined? Why? Because in this particular process model, the record is defined as a LAP customer types. Okay, so that's why we have this record. And this data store entity, whenever we are writing the data to the table, we are storing this value. We need to store this value back to the record. So whatever the number has generated into the customer, that number will come here. Okay, like suppose the number 6, number 7, all those number will get captured into the customer ID. Okay, now let's publish this process model. Okay, now we are going to generate a new customer. Tempo. We go to the record and we say customers, add customer. Okay, I'll say name as This reference number is not getting generated right now. We need to work on this reference number. I'll just say created on. Okay, and I hit on submit. Let me show you the process instance. Right now there will be no any process instance because I have not submitted anything. So right now there's a 4, right? Let me go and click on submit. I click on submit. Okay. So we have modified some data, right? It's not synced. Let me go and record. See what can appear. One second. Huh? We have updated the data directly into the database, right? That KYC thing, and we have not updated this thing, customers. So we need to update that record. Any reference to this record? Oh, because of this KYC, you see this number is here. So what we need to do, update the mappings, and it says KYC to text. Okay, save the changes. So just like the way we have updated into the CDT, we need to come to the record and we have to also update here. And let's do the sync here. Start full sync. Okay. New customer. This is assigned to the customer, right? So that's why we need to create one more swim lane. So this swim lane we can say for system, because system is going to work on this particular account opening process. I'll just drag it here to here, and it's connect to this one, and this is going to connect to that to this one. Okay. So this is going to work by the system, not by any user, right? So we'll just do like this. Okay, there's no error. Save and publish. Go to the tempo again. Records, customer, the add customer. Okay. Now click on submit. So you see this one, this customer has been created. Now let's go and check the instance. New account of customer never sync. Okay. So we have generated this one, and in this one we have also get the customer ID 6. Now you see this one, the sub process is also triggered. Right now, if you click on the sub process, if you go here and you check for that customer ID 6 is getting passed from the parent. This 6 is coming from the parent, and this get account data is calling that expression rule that we built, and from there we are forming this data. So account ID is 6, account reference is whatever we have given, account status and everything is there, right? So you know how to get the data from one place to another place. We are passing this information from here, the customer ID 6, and passing it to the sub process, and in the sub process we are forming this account data. Any doubt? Right now we are not writing perform the data store entity service, right, to write the data. Right now we have just created the data. So any doubt till here, guys? I mean, how did we do? Any question you can ask? This was a
No
parent
doubt,
process.
but it was a long process. We need to visit
This
it
is a long
again.
process.
Yeah.
This is the smallest process for now.
No, no, no.
There you will be seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as per the part of working, yeah. No, it looks like, but once you will be habituated, it will be very easy for you guys to understand.
Yeah. Once we
But
keep
right
our
now,
hands on, we might get more
yeah,
questions.
correct. So this is how we pass the information from parent to child. This customer ID we are passing from this particular process model to this particular process model, and then what we need to do, we need to perform write to data store entity smart service to write the data to the table. So we can, because it's going to be too much for you guys, then we can look these things in tomorrow's session. Okay, do the practice till here, or let me. Okay, do the practice till here. Otherwise, that will be too much for you guys. To digest. So we'll see how to write this data to the database in tomorrow's session. Okay,
Yeah, sure, Ravi.
and also we need to see this one, the reference ID for why we need to generate the reference ID.
Because
Anyone is good at database? Yeah,
we
yeah, we
haven't
have
given
not
the
given,
auto
right?
generate. Yeah.
We have not given it, but this needs to be calculated. This LAP00, it needs to be but we don't know what is the ID is going to be, right now we were knowing this, okay, 1 2 3 4 record, but in the later stage we will not know this one, right? So that's why
Yeah.
we have to do something in the process model so it can auto write. Okay, okay then, any questions, guys? I see many of already left. So